there's various head-to-heads that have been done with dry and raw dog food. Don't you find it interesting that anybody that asks you for evidence, where's the evidence for raw dog food? Where's your evidence? And I'd say, okay, well, I'll tell you what. The best evidence is a head-to-head study, isn't it? You know, we pitched the two of them against each other first and looked at a certain issue and seeing which one did better. That's kind of the gold standard of what we're looking for here. So how about I tell you about my favorite one and you tell me about your favorite one? And they fall for it every time, because I've got 3 or 4 examples of some reasonable studies that have done head-to-heads of dry versus raw dog food. Do you know that dry dog food has got none? The entire small animal clinical nutrition on my shelf, a huge study produced by Hill's Pet Food, you know, Mark Morris Institute, which Hill's Pet Food bought. There's not one single study that shows dry food is better than a group of normal fresh fed dogs, fed a species appropriate food. I can talk about the science all day because that's half the book really, to be honest with you. But the fact that they don't use, like, look, we compared this group of fresh fed dogs, fed good species appropriate mix, designed well, not just like we fed them chicken breast for 5 months, you know. Well designed raw dog food compared to dry pet food has never been done. The only people that are looking at it now are the raw dog food side, because they just want to show, of course, raw dog food is better. So we'll do the studies because they don't, or they haven't published the results. And there's 4 really good ones. Canine, there's mainly surveys, to be fair. Not a big fan of surveys, but surveyed 300 German Shepherd owners, which was published in, I can't tell you which journal it was, but it's published and peer reviewed. Less chronic hip dysplasia when fed raw food. There's 2 or 3 studies like that. Roy et al., a fantastic homocysteine study, which I wanted to show you, but we don't have time. Where dogs fed raw food are 5 times less inflamed than dogs fed dry food. And when you switch them raw to dry and dry to raw, the raw food gets more inflamed, the dry food gets less inflamed. Okay, that's a brilliant study. That's my favorite head-to-head study at the moment, because you can't argue with it. So I asked them for theirs and they'll change to, oh, well, raw so dangerous. And I go, oh, that's very interesting, you should mention that. So we'll talk about the dangers in a second. But and then there's just so many studies against dry. We know that high carb diets are not good for obesity. They don't do as well. We know high carbohydrates spike blood triglycerides, so it's not good for pancreatitis. They're the cause of pancreatitis. So there's studies that say, 3 studies that say avoid kibble if you want to avoid bloat. Raw fed dogs also bloat, but possibly not as much. And just, I could talk all day about why there's like, listen, from a safety point of view, dry dog food is in big trouble, because in the last 2 decades alone, tens of thousands of pets have been killed. Tens of thousands of pets that we've just forgotten about. The melamine scandal, Hills recently, 22 million cans of pet food came out of the best pet food company in the world without a single check. That's the best you can do. 100 of dogs dead. How many dogs died from that? So now you show me the study when a pre-made raw dog food killed a dog. Can I see? Has anybody got anything? You know, I think 6 cats were killed with TB last year by a raw dog food company that didn't check its venison well enough. And TB is there's a pool of venison in that. 6 cats. You know, aflatoxin is killing hundreds of dogs every year. These are studies that we have. You know, incorrect nutrient content, which is the biggest killer, because synthetic nutrients done wrong will kill you dead. Raw dog food side isn't going to die. Pre-made raw dog food is not going to kill you from being a bit unbalanced in nutrients, and they are unbalanced when they're checked. Because raw feeders generally throw things off their plates and stuff from the fridge, going off bits of this, half price that, throw it in. We vary it up all the time. We're not feeding the same product to the dog every day. So the chances of nutrient deficiency popping up in pre-made raw is very small. But the point is, tens of thousands of pets have been killed for a multitude of reasons in the last 2 decades. And you want to talk to me about safety. And most ironically, from 2006 to 2016, in terms of salmonella alone, 132 people got salmonella from dry pet food. Has anybody ever warned you about that? And yes, we see an awful lot of veterinary associations publishing grossly incorrect scientific articles talking about the dangers of raw dog food. And 2 organizations in particular stated explicitly that humans had been poisoned by raw dog food, which is really interesting, because the very first recorded incidence of a possible contamination from raw dog food was in 2018, a government article in 2018. So 132 people, and guess what? Half of them toddlers under 2 years of age, because they can access that bag of dry food. Look at the amount of recalls for dry pet food and salmonella and canned pet food. They suffer terribly because of the quality ingredients that they use. Raw dog food companies also suffer terribly because they don't use any of the chemicals, any of the preservation techniques. It's not ultra processed. And they're working with a food chain that has salmonella in it. Far worse a situation in the States than it is in the UK, because it's not permitted in the UK and it's permitted in the US. So like the fact that these guys are putting out zero salmonella, they should be commended and supported. And if anything, they're a canary in the gold mine for how corrupt and rotten the food system is at the moment. So talk to me about safety all day, because they can't talk about the nutritional quality of their food compared to fresh food. It's just a nonsensical conversation. They'd be laughed out of any scientific kind of debate. So now it's all about the threat and risk. You know, to finish on this safety point, because I'm obviously quite passionate about it. Listen, the top 3 killers, the top in the States, 1 in 7 get a foodborne illness each year. And the top causes of food poisoning for salmonella, listeria, and E. coli, the top food causes are fruits and vegetables for all 3. Now, is that a reason not to feed fresh fruit and vegetables to your kids every day and rush off to a vending machine, some junk made by some candy company? Or is it possibly that we need to clean up our food system and take care? If you're going to feed fresh food, guys, take care. You're handling meat and bone, and the meat and bone industry is not pretty. I've been on the inside of it. I was a raw dog food manufacturer for 2 years and associated with them since. It's not pretty. So you need to handle that and treat it with care. But people that jump to raw dog food are well educated in what they're handling. They learn online. They get an awful lot of advice, and in they go. But they're not stupid. They've been living with meat for years, so they handle it the same way. Bottom shelf of the fridge, that type thing.